Hello everyone and welcome to Witch Hollow Homestead. Today I am going to talk to you about the garden for 2026. Our winter has been quite rough and we haven't had a winter like this. I think it's been 9 years. Last year wasn't easy either, but at least we had snow just January, February, and that's it. This time our snow started November 1st, and it's now February, well, I don't actually know what the date is today. February 22nd, I think, and it's snowing still. So it's hard to think garden and seed starting when it's still snowing, but need to think about it so that I'm well prepared. Last year was the first time that I planned my gardens, and I have to admit that made life so much easier. I'm not usually a planner or organizer, but yeah, it was worth it. So I thought I would share with you what I have planned so far for 2026. Let me get my iPad out and hopefully, you know what, I should probably turn the camera a little bit so that there's room on the side for me to put up my garden planning. So hold on one second. Okay, there, I think I'm still in focus. That should work. Don't mind the blinding light behind me. That's just because there's so much snow outside and it's currently snowing. So we get this blinding light behind. First thing we'll talk about is the vertical gardens. So this year I'm going to move the vertical gardens out front, but I'm going to be moving them out front because we're actually going to be moving into a new house. So I need those out front so that I can easily transport them to a new house. So that being said, I am going to be doing cilantro, parsley, basil, lettuce, holy basil. The Mizuna is questionable, we'll see. I do like Mizuna because it grows easily, it grows quickly. I can keep harvesting it all season long. And it's nice for salads or for stir fries. But I planted some last year and for some reason I just kept forgetting to use it. So I don't know if there's a better use of space instead of planting that. So that's just a question mark, but we'll see. Marjoram, and that's it. So I'm gonna do a lot of lettuce, a lot of cilantro, a lot of parsley, and basil, because those are the main herbs we like to use. And I did I did 12 cilantro and 12 parsley last year, and that worked out really well. I would cut them fresh, chop them up, and stick them in the freezer. And now anytime I want to make something with those in, I just take them out, pour a little bit out of the jar, and stick them back in the freezer, and it preserves the taste really well. So I'll be doing that again. So the vertical gardens aren't anything too exciting or earth-shattering. Next is going to be the carrot bed, and I have found over the last 4 years that I've grown carrots. I didn't feel that they worked really well for me in the round canvas pots. They were okay, but I don't think they really had enough space to grow super big. So I started putting them in our beds, our raised beds, and that worked really well. But I did find they need more sun than I think they need. So last year, the carrots that got the most amount of sun grew beautifully. They were nice and big, and I was very happy with those. So I've decided this year I'm going to dedicate an entire bed to carrots. I didn't mention, I'm so sorry. Last year I did square foot gardening. This year I will also be doing square foot gardening because I loved it. So same thing with the carrots. That'll be square foot gardening. I will be planting 16 carrots per square foot. And we'll see how that goes. It went great last year. I'm really happy about that. The only other thing I'm going to put in the bed is one nasturtium plant and one sage plant. sage keeps the pests away, and the nasturtium draws some of the pests in away from the carrots. And I also like nasturtium to eat. Last year I didn't do much nasturtium. I think I did one because I just didn't have the space, and I was definitely missing it. So there's going to be plenty of nasturtium this year. Next, which is not super exciting, just 6 little rounds on the screen, and that's going to be a mix of jalapeno plants and poblano plants. I'm trying to decide how many poblano plants to do. Last year I did 6, and I am almost all out of chopped up frozen poblanos. So that makes me think I probably should do 6 again. But last season wasn't great for the local farms when it came to jalapenos. And I really, really like jalapenos. So I was thinking about doing 3 jalapeno plants. That way I can slice them up and ferment them and then have them in the fridge for the rest of the season. So I guess I'll find out and decide when I go to buy plants. But this is kind of the general idea. Next, which I'm very excited about, I'm going to be growing sugar snap peas. I'm going to be growing purple ones and green ones. Sugar snap peas are going to be new for me. I've never grown those before, and I am excited to try them. I didn't realize that some sugar snap peas need to be soaked overnight and inoculated, and then others you can just plant directly, which is really cool. So I'm excited about that. The purple ones listed are going to need to be soaked overnight and then inoculated before I plant. And then the green ones I can just direct sow. I am going to plant those pretty early, so I have listed 4/17 for my planting date. And that's because they like cooler weather. So I want to get those started as soon as I can. And it did say on the packets that I could even plant them 2 weeks before last frost date, which I was really surprised about. So yeah, we're going to see how they go. But I did also buy trellises so that I can trellis them. Super excited. The bed will also have nasturtium and arugula. I love arugula. It grows so quickly. Just direct sow the seeds. I never have any issues. I can put them absolutely anywhere and they grow beautifully. Soybeans are a new one for me. I want to grow soybeans because I want edamame. We eat a lot of frozen edamame. So I do want our own. And if I have any extra, I am going to dry them. And then we'll have soybeans to make soy milk and miso and anything else I want to make. So very excited about that. The next bed is a mixture of pole beans, kale, and potatoes. Pole beans I grew last year, and I didn't know for sure how to grow them. It was my first time trying. I did get a lot of pole beans. Don't get me wrong. By the end of the season, I couldn't process all I was getting, and I was just giving them to anybody who would take them. Like, here, please, take some pole beans. I don't know what to do with all of them. And the freezer is still full of frozen pole beans, which is great. This time, though, I will follow the instructions. I was under the impression that pole beans had to be soaked overnight and inoculated. That's not true. Not all of them need that. My mistake. Didn't realize. So I'm going to follow what it says on the packet for these. And this says just to direct sow. They don't like cold. So I will be planting them the same time I plant the cucumber plants, which will probably be mid to late May. That way I don't have to worry about frost. Arugula is going to go in this bed again. Kale, I'm going to seed start some kale plants. I really like kale because it grows big. You can keep harvesting it all season long. Last year we had 3 or 4 kale plants, and it was just a constant harvest. It was really, really great. I like kale over spinach purely because last year was the first year I grew spinach and I grew it successfully, which I was happy about. But you don't get much out of one spinach plant. And it kind of seemed like a waste of space unless I was going to take a whole entire raised bed and say, this is all spinach. It just kind of seemed like a waste. And I usually just want to freeze it so I can use it later. What's nice with the kale is that it grows a lot. The leaves are big. I can constantly harvest, and I can blanch them, put them in the freezer, and we can use them in smoothies or dips or just rice bowls. And I got a lot more out of it, and I didn't have to constantly reseed. So kale is going to be the main green leafy plant this year for us to freeze. The last thing, there's marigold in the center because of pest control, and then potatoes. So I'm going to have an entire bed dedicated to potatoes, but I wanted to grow more potatoes than we did last year. Last year we got 70 or 80 pounds worth, and that was great. I mean, we still have French fries in the freezer, we still have canned potatoes, and that's wonderful. But I do have to kind of be careful how many we use because I don't want to run out. So this year I wanted to grow a few more plants. So in this bed I am putting potatoes in. I'm just going to put one plant each. And I am starting my own potatoes like I usually do. I'm going to do just russet. And then I did purchase some seeded potatoes from Hudson Valley Seed Company. And those, I have the name of them, I think, in the other potato bed. So when we get there, I'll tell you the name of those. I want to say it's Huckleberry something, but not sure. We'll see when we get there. So let's move on. Oh, and next is the potato bed. So that's perfect. All right. So, it's Huckleberry Gold potatoes. I was right. Those are the other ones. I did order 3 pounds from them. So it says that 1 pound of those potatoes can give you up to 20 pounds, which is great. I'm very excited. The more potatoes, the better. But this will be the first time I'm trying seed potatoes. So stay tuned for that. I will show you when I get them. Nothing real exciting in the potato bed, just some nasturtium, marigold, dill, and cilantro. Those are all great for drawing in beneficial pollinators or deterring pests from going towards your potato plants. So very excited about that. And this will be a very large bed. This bed last year was where I had all of our tomato plants, which they did so beautifully last year. I cannot complain, and that was really worthwhile. Next, which will be new for me, is I'm going to grow cattle beans. So cattle beans are in the kidney bean family. And I really want to try to grow some of our own dried beans since I do so much canning of beans. This will be new, and I can't wait to see how they come out. Supposedly, you plant them, they grow easily. You let them go all season long, and then late fall, when they all look dried, you pull them. You let them dry inside a little bit more, and then you pull the beans out. So that'll be a fun process that I will share with everyone. In this bed, I'm going to be putting a rosemary plant, a petunia plant, and a sage, and then radishes. Radishes are great because anytime I harvest other plants, I can just stick radishes right in there and regrow them. They grow quickly. I think the radishes I have are 35 days from seed to finish. So it's just a nice quick turnaround, and they're great to snack on. And the last bed is the cucumber bed. That's going to be in the back, and I'm going to put soybeans in there. I think that's a nice pairing with the cucumber plants. I'm also going to do 1 sun gold cherry tomato plant. I'm not doing any more tomato plants this coming year, only because I do want to crop rotate, and I have a lot of other things I want to grow. I can get tomatoes at the local farm where I like to get them. So I'm just for myself going to grow a sun gold plant. That way I always have snacking tomatoes, and I always have tomatoes I can put on sandwiches or in salad. So I'll do one of those, and we'll find out. Maybe that won't be enough, and next year I'll recalibrate. Next year will involve many more beds being put in and all of that. But this is what we're going with this year. I'm going to do the soybeans, like I said, in this, and then I'm going to do calendula. I didn't want to overdo the calendula this year because I do have a lot of calendula from the last 2 years dried. So I'm only going to do 1 square foot of that. I'm going to do more dill, and then I'm going to do arugula. So that is my plan. Now, there are some other things I am going to plant, but I haven't planned them out quite yet because I need to get this started first and then see how many canvas pots I have left and what I'm looking at going forward. The raised bed on wheels last year that I planted, that's our herb garden. If my memory is correct, I'm not going to have to replant anything in there because that is all stuff that comes back every year. I have my thyme, my oregano, my marjoram, my anise hyssop, lavender, and I think I had something else in there too. So all of that will come back each year. I don't have to do anything special with it. And that was kind of my goal for that raised bed is I wanted it to come back every year. So it's just one less thing I have to think about. But I am very excited for the garden this year. It's going to be a lot of new seeds and new plants that I'm trying out. And I always get excited because I learn things every single year. I am a little concerned that I'm only doing 1 tomato plant because tomatoes are my favorite. But it's just for 1 season, and I will readjust in 2027. In 2027, I will be putting in, like I mentioned, more beds. We're still going to keep the beds here at this house, and my mom's going to be living here. So we're moving into a new house, and we're going to be putting new beds in over there. So I'm not losing these beds. I have all of these, plus I'm going to have a whole new piece of property to fill with beds, which I'm very, very excited about. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining me. Let me know in the comments, what are you planting this year? I love discussions about gardening. Like, please, 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 please tell me what you're planting. Tell me what seeds you're starting, when you're going to plant. Because I have to say, where we live, we have to plant really late. And I'm so super jealous of everybody that lives like in grow zone 6 or higher. Because you guys get to start your seeds so early and you get to plant them. And that's so awesome. So please tell me what you're planting. I hope your garden planting is going well. And take care, and I will see you soon. Happy homesteading. Okay, sorry, I lied. I'm not done. Thought I was. I wanted to say when I'm seed starting. So I'm going to seed start, let me look at my calendar, for some of the plants the weekend of March 7th. So there's going to be a few like the marjoram and the kale. I'll be starting then. There's lettuce I'm going to start then too. The lettuce though, I learned from last year that worked really well, but I'm going to do it more this year. I'm going to intentionally plant 3 lettuce seeds a week until I get up to the 18 heads of lettuce that I'm going to plant. And I'm going to do that because I want it to be kind of all different in the cycle. Not last year, but the previous year, I had planted 12 heads of lettuce all at the same time and then had 12 heads of lettuce ready and went, what am I supposed to do with all this lettuce? So I'm definitely going to plant it in a little bit of a cycle so it doesn't surprise me. I did buy lettuce that handles cold weather really well. So those are the first ones I'm going to start, and I'm going to put those out in the vertical garden probably middle of April because they are frost hardy as well. And that'll be great. And then I'll start planting the other ones that like cooler weather but aren't frost hardy. And then I think probably in August sometime, maybe beginning of September, I'll start the frost hardy one again, and then I'll have lettuce again into the winter. The potatoes I'm going to start the weekend of March 7th as well. And that's because I always get those in early, and I'm going to be putting them in April 17th. So I want to make sure I have those ready and sprouted in time to plant. There are a bunch that I'm direct sowing as well, which I'm a huge fan of direct sow. If I don't have to seed start inside ahead of time, I prefer that. And then there are some things that I had mentioned that I'm not going to plant until real late. That would be the pole beans, the cucumbers, the cattle beans, and the sugar snap peas. Those are all going to go in towards the end of May because I don't want to have to worry about frost. Last year it was pretty cool, and it was cool until I think it was the beginning of June. This year it's not supposed to be like that. But the cucumber plants, I didn't get planted until the first week in June because we were still having frost and I had to be careful. So excited to get them in maybe a little bit earlier. But okay, I promise. I am done now. I'm walking away. Happy homesteading. Take care.